Our/AITA cousin made my miscarriage public, so I destroyed her inheritance. AITA for destroying my cousin's inheritance after she made my miscarriage public? I'm staring at my phone screen, watching the comments pile up under my cousin Jessica's Facebook post, and I think I might actually throw up. Not from the grief this time, from pure, white-hot rage. Heartbroken for my beautiful cousin who lost her angel baby today. Broken heart, loudly crying face. Please send prayers and love during this difficult time. #miscarriage, #family first, #prayers needed. She tagged me. She actually tagged me, along with 12 other family members, including my grandmother, my aunts, and 3 cousins I haven't spoken to in years. The post has been up for 6 hours and already has 43 comments and 27 crying face reactions. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing with messages from relatives I barely know, offering condolences for the most private, devastating experience of my life. The worst part? I only told her 4 hours ago. I called Jessica from the hospital parking lot, still bleeding, still cramping, still trying to process that the baby I'd been secretly excited about for 8 weeks was gone. She was the only person besides my husband who knew I was pregnant. I thought I could trust her. We'd been close since childhood. She was more like a sister than a cousin. When she answered the phone crying and saying she'd be right over, I actually felt grateful to have her in my life. Now I'm sitting in my kitchen at 2 a.m., scrolling through comments from virtual strangers discussing my reproductive organs and God's plan, and I want to burn everything down. So sorry for your loss, honey. Everything happens for a reason. Folded hands. At least you know you can get pregnant. That's a blessing. My sister went through this 3 times before she had her miracle baby. Don't give up hope. Each comment is a fresh knife twist. But what makes me absolutely murderous is seeing Jessica's responses, playing the grieving, supportive cousin for an audience. She's getting more sympathy in the comments than I am. People are praising her for being such a wonderful, caring family member. My husband David finds me in the kitchen, phone clutched in my white-knuckled grip. Babe, you need to sleep. The doctor said. Look. I shove the phone toward him. His face goes through the same progression mine did, confusion, disbelief, then fury. What the hell is wrong with her, he whispers. You told her this in confidence. You were sobbing. How could she immediately run to social media? I've been asking myself the same question for hours. This is the same Jessica who cried with me when I got my first period, who held my hair when I was sick, who was going to be my baby's godmother. The same Jessica who's been planning her future around the massive inheritance she's expecting from our grandmother when she turns 30 next year. Our grandmother, who isn't actually her grandmother. The thought hits me like lightning, and suddenly I'm not sad anymore. I'm calculating. I've kept that secret for 6 years, ever since I accidentally found those documents in my dad's study while helping him organize old files. DNA tests, legal papers, correspondence with a private investigator. Jessica's mother had lied about who her father was, which meant she wasn't actually related to our father's side of the family. She wasn't Grandma Rose's biological granddaughter. I never told anyone because what would be the point? Jessica had grown up believing she belonged. Grandma Rose adored her. Why destroy a family over technicalities? But Jessica just destroyed my family. She took my most vulnerable moment and turned it into her social media moment. Now I'm wondering if those technicalities might matter after all. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see those Facebook comments, but worse, I see the smug satisfaction on Jessica's face as she typed that post. By 6 a.m., I give up pretending and make coffee with shaking hands. David's already left for work, but not before making me promise to stay off social media. Just focus on healing, he'd said, kissing my forehead. We'll deal with Jessica later. But I can't focus on anything except the manila folder hidden in my bedroom closet, the one I grabbed from Dad's study 6 years ago and never returned. I tell myself I just want to look at it again, to make sure my memory is correct, but deep down I know I'm planning something terrible. The documents are exactly as I remembered. DNA test results showing Jessica's mother, Aunt Linda, had lied about Jessica's paternity. A private investigator's report detailing how Linda had an affair during her marriage, got pregnant, and passed the baby off as her husband's to maintain her place in our well-to-do family. Legal correspondence discussing the implications for inheritance rights. My dad had hired the PI after Uncle Mike died and some inconsistencies came to light during the estate settlement. But instead of exposing Linda, he'd quietly buried the truth. What good would it do? I remember him telling my mom when he thought I couldn't hear. Jessica's just a kid. Rose loves her. Why blow up the family? Noble of him. But Jessica apparently doesn't share his sense of family loyalty. I'm photographing the documents with my phone when it starts buzzing again. Another wave of Facebook notifications. Against my better judgment, I check. Jessica has posted an update, still so heartbroken for my cousin. Planning a surprise care package for her and her husband. This family sticks together through everything. Red heart #family love #support. 67 likes. Comments calling her an angel. A saint. The perfect cousin. My phone rings, Grandma Rose. Sweetheart, her voice is gentle, concerned. I saw Jessica's post. Why didn't you call me yourself? The betrayal hits fresh. I wasn't ready to talk about it yet, Grandma. Oh honey, I understand. Privacy is important during times like these. I'm a little surprised Jessica shared something so personal without asking you first. Something in her tone gives me hope. It did feel wrong. Well, she means well, I'm sure. She's always been dramatic, that one. Too much social media if you ask me. Grandma pauses. Are you and David doing okay? Do you need anything? Grandma Rose has always been my safe harbor. She practically raised me while Mom worked double shifts as a nurse. She taught me to bake, helped with homework, listened to all my teenage drama without judgment. She's also worth about $2.3 million, most of which is supposed to be split between Jessica and me when she passes. I'm okay, Grandma. Just processing. Take all the time you need, darling. And next time you have news, good or bad, you call me directly, all right? I don't need to hear about my granddaughter's life from Facebook. After we hang up, I stare at the documents spread across my kitchen table. Grandma Rose just criticized Jessica's breach of privacy. She values loyalty, discretion, family honor, all things Jessica trampled on yesterday. But am I really considering this? Destroying Jessica's entire future over a Facebook post? My phone buzzes with a text from my sister Kate, saw Jessica's post. I'm so sorry. Also, why is she making this about herself in the comments? It's weird. Then another from my cousin Mike, Jessica's FB post was inappropriate AF. Hope you're okay. So I'm not crazy. Other people see it too. I look at the DNA results again, at the proof that Jessica has been living a lie her whole life. A lie that's about to make her very, very rich. A lie I have the power to expose. I spend the next 2 days in a haze of grief and fury, avoiding Jessica's increasingly frantic calls. She's left 7 voicemails, each one more manipulative than the last. Hey babe, just checking on you. I know you're probably overwhelmed by all the love and support, but that's what family is for, right? Okay, I'm getting worried. You're not answering anyone. I was just trying to help by letting people know what happened so they could be there for you. Look, if you're mad about the post, I'm sorry, but I really think you're overreacting. Everyone's being so supportive. Aunt Marie even wants to bring you dinner tomorrow. Overreacting. The word makes my vision blur with rage. David finds me at the kitchen table Thursday morning, laptop open, furiously typing. What are you working on? Timeline, I say without looking up. I'm documenting everything Jessica posted, every comment, every reaction. Screenshots with timestamps. He reads over my shoulder, his jaw tightening. Jesus. She really is responding to every single comment like she's the star of her own grief performance. That's exactly what it is, a performance. Jessica has always craved attention, but this feels different. Calculated. She's not just sharing my tragedy, she's weaponizing it for social currency. The worst part, I say, showing him my phone, is that she's demanding people. Look at this. I screenshot a message from our cousin Sarah. Jessica reached out privately to give me details about your miscarriage. Thought you should know. This isn't normal, even for her. David sinks into the chair beside me. She's actively spreading the story. This isn't just one thoughtless post anymore. My laptop chimes with a new email notification. It's from Jessica. Since you won't answer your phone, I'm emailing. I've been thinking about everything, and I realize you might be upset about the Facebook thing. But honestly, Sarah, isolation isn't healthy during grief. You need your family right now. I was just making sure people knew to check on you. You should be grateful I care enough to make sure you're not suffering alone. Anyway, I'm coming over at 3 p.m. whether you like it or not. We need to talk about Grandma's birthday party next weekend. She's expecting both of us there, and we can't let family drama ruin her day. See you later. Love you. Jay. Grateful, I read aloud. She thinks I should be grateful. David's face is stone. She's not coming here. I'll be home by 2:30. But I don't want David to handle this. I want to handle it myself. At 2:45, I hear Jessica's key in my front door. Of course, she still has it from when she house sat last year. She walks into my kitchen like she owns the place, designer purse clutched defensively. Finally, she says. You look terrible. Have you been sleeping? Why do you still have my key? She blinks, thrown by my flat tone. What? Oh, I forgot I had it. Look, we need to talk about. You made my miscarriage about you. Each word comes out steady, controlled. You violated my privacy for social media attention. That's not, Sarah, come on. I was trying to help. You're being dramatic. There it is. Dramatic. Just like Grandma said. 43 comments, Jessica. You responded to every single one. You've been demanding people details about my medical situation. You scheduled a care package delivery without asking me. You've turned my loss into your content. Her face flushes. Everything I did was out of love. If you can't see that, maybe you're not thinking clearly right now. The gaslighting is breathtaking. But it also crystallizes something for me. This isn't just about the Facebook post. This is about who Jessica really is beneath the performance. Someone who would exploit family tragedy for attention, then manipulate the victim into feeling grateful for it. Get out, I say quietly. What? Get out of my house. And leave a key. Jessica's face cycles through shock, hurt, and then something ugly, pure entitlement. You're seriously kicking me out? After everything I've done for you? What exactly have you done for me, Jessica? Besides broadcast my private medical information to 43 strangers? She slams her purse down on my counter. I got you support. I made sure the family knew what was happening so they could be there for you. Do you have any idea how many people have called me asking how they can help? They called you? Well, yes, because you've been hiding like a hermit. Someone had to coordinate the family response. Aunt Marie wanted to bring dinner, Cousin Beth offered to clean your house, Uncle Jim was going to send flowers, but they all went through me because you won't answer your phone. The audacity is staggering. She's positioned herself as a grief coordinator, the family liaison for my own tragedy. I didn't want coordination, Jessica. I wanted privacy. Privacy is a luxury when you're falling apart, she snaps. I've been managing everything because someone had to. Do you think David's handling this well? He looked like hell when I saw him at the grocery store yesterday. You've been checking up on my husband? I've been taking care of this family while you wallow. Her voice rises. Someone has to be the responsible one, Sarah. Someone has to make sure this doesn't destroy everyone around you too. The mask is fully off now. This was never about supporting me, it was about Jessica inserting herself into the center of a crisis, playing the hero while I played the victim. It's exactly what she did when Grandpa died 3 years ago, suddenly becoming the family's grief counselor and memorial organizer while the rest of us were barely functional. Get out, I repeat, standing up. Now. She doesn't move. You're making a mistake. You need me right now, even if you're too stubborn to admit it. And frankly, Grandma's worried about how you're isolating yourself. She might want to have a conversation about. About what? Jessica's smile turns calculating. About whether you're stable enough to handle responsibilities. Financial responsibilities. Grandma's not getting any younger, and if you're having some kind of breakdown. The threat hangs in the air like poison gas. She's implying she might convince Grandma Rose that I'm mentally unfit. That my grief response is somehow evidence of instability that could affect my inheritance. Are you threatening me? I'm trying to help you see reality. You're pushing away everyone who cares about you over one little Facebook post. That's not normal, Sarah. That's concerning. My hands shake as I reach for my phone. Jessica's eyes widen when she sees what I'm pulling up, screenshots of her post, her comments, her messages. 43 comments, I read. Let me share some highlights. Thank you for letting us know. Jessica, you're such an amazing cousin for taking care of everyone like this. Your response, it's what family does. Sarah's like my sister. Here's another, how far along was she? Your response, 8 weeks, same as my friend Katie when she lost hers last year. It's so common but no one talks about it. You gave them medical details, Jessica. About my body. Her face pales. I was starting important conversations about miscarriage awareness. Using my uterus as your discussion topic. I'm shouting now. You turned my baby's death into your platform for miscarriage awareness. Without asking me. You're being completely irrational. And here's my personal favorite, I continue reading. Jessica, you're handling this so well. Your cousin is lucky to have you. Your response, I just know how to support people through trauma. Some people shut down, but I've learned you have to push through and stay connected. The silence stretches between us. Jessica's mouth opens and closes like a fish. You've been giving interviews about my grief response, I say quietly. Positioning yourself as the trauma expert and me as the unstable one who shuts down. When she finally speaks, her voice is different, harder. Maybe because that's exactly what you are. The words hit me like a physical blow, but something strange happens. Instead of crumbling, I feel myself getting colder. Calmer. More focused. Say that again, I tell her. Jessica straightens, emboldened by what she thinks is weakness. You heard me. You shut down when things get hard. You always have. Remember when Mom died? You disappeared for weeks while I planned the entire funeral with Grandma. Remember when David lost his job? You had a panic attack while I helped you budget your finances. I'm always the one who steps up when you fall apart. Each example is like watching her build her own gallows. Because I remember those situations very differently. When Aunt Linda died 2 years ago, I took a week off work to grieve, something normal people do when they lose a family member. Jessica swooped in and took over the funeral planning, steamrolling over Linda's written wishes to create the spectacle she wanted. I tried to speak up about the inappropriate music choices and over-the-top flower arrangements, but Jessica convinced everyone I was too emotional to make decisions. When David was laid off 6 months ago, I did have one panic attack, a private one, in my bedroom, that lasted maybe 20 minutes. Jessica found out from Grandma Rose and immediately appointed herself our financial advisor, showing up with spreadsheets and lectures about our spending habits. She told half the family about David's unemployment before we were ready to share it. You've been doing this for years, I realize out loud. Creating problems so you can solve them. Making me look unstable so you can look heroic. I've been taking care of this family. You've been managing this family. There's a difference. I stand up, moving toward my kitchen drawer. You know what's interesting, Jessica? You keep talking about family responsibility, about who deserves what, about Grandma's concerns. Sarah, what are you doing? I pull out the manila folder I've been keeping in the kitchen since Tuesday. Jessica's eyes lock onto it with the intensity of someone recognizing a threat. You mentioned Grandma's birthday party next weekend. The big one. Her 75th. The one where she's supposed to announce the details of her estate planning. Jessica goes very still. Why do you have files out? What files are those? Just some old paperwork I found when I was helping Dad organize his study a few years back. I set the folder on the counter between us, my hand resting on top. You know how Dad is about keeping records. He keeps everything. Even things he probably shouldn't. Sarah. Her voice is warning now. Whatever you think you're doing. Did you know Dad hired a private investigator after Uncle Mike died? Something about inconsistencies in the family records. Loose ends that needed tying up for the estate. The color drains from Jessica's face so completely I think she might faint. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you do. I tap the folder. I think you've always wondered why you look nothing like anyone else in Dad's family. Why you're blonde and blue-eyed when we're all dark. Why you have that weird allergy to shellfish that no one else has. Why Grandma Rose sometimes gets this strange look when people mention how much you resemble the family. Jessica's breathing has gone shallow. You're having some kind of breakdown. This is exactly what I was talking about, you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years. I open the folder just enough to pull out a single sheet, a lab report header visible. The question is, what happens when Grandma Rose starts thinking clearly too? Whatever those papers say, they're lies. But Jessica's voice cracks on the last word. Are they, though? I meet her eyes. Are they really? The kitchen clock ticks loudly in the silence. Jessica stares at the folder like it contains a bomb. Which, in a way, it does. Jessica's hands are visibly shaking now, but her voice hardens with desperation. You're bluffing. Dad would never, he loved my mom. He would never investigate his own family like that. He did love Aunt Linda. That's exactly why he investigated. I pull out another document, letting her see just enough to make out the private investigator's letterhead. He wanted to protect her. And you. But he also needed to know the truth for legal reasons. Legal reasons? The question comes out as barely a whisper. Estate planning is complicated when paternity is in question. Dad had to know whether Uncle Mike was really your father, or whether your real father might someday surface with claims. I trace my finger along the edge of the papers. Turns out, your real father is a married man from Linda's old job. Still alive. Still very much unaware he has a daughter who's about to inherit a fortune that isn't legally hers. Jessica lunges forward, trying to grab the folder, but I pull it back against my chest. Give me those. Those are private family documents. Are they family documents, though? If you're not actually family? She freezes, and for a moment, I see something raw and terrified in her eyes. But it quickly morphs into rage. You can't prove anything. And even if you could, Grandma Rose has considered me her granddaughter for 28 years. You think she's going to disown me over some technicality? Maybe not. But her lawyers might have something to say about it when they're distributing assets. I tap the folder again. Especially when they find out the family has been in possession of DNA evidence for 6 years and never disclosed it. Jessica's face cycles through several emotions before landing on something calculating. You know what? Fine. Let's say those papers are real. Let's say everything you're implying is true. She crosses her arms. You're still not going to use them. Am I not? Because you're not like me, Sarah. You don't destroy people for personal satisfaction. That's why you've kept this secret for 6 years already, because deep down, you're too soft to actually hurt someone, even when they deserve it. Her confidence is rebuilding with each word. You'll wave those papers around, make your threats, feel powerful for 5 minutes, and then you'll fold. Because that's who you are. The assessment stings because there's truth in it. I did keep this secret for years. I could have exposed Jessica anytime, when she took credit for organizing Mom's surprise birthday party that I actually planned, when she convinced Grandma Rose that I was too busy with work to help during her pneumonia recovery while positioning herself as the devoted caregiver, when she somehow managed to get the bedroom I'd always loved at Grandma's lake house permanently designated as Jessica's room. But this feels different. This feels like a line has been crossed that can't be uncrossed. You're probably right about who I used to be, I say slowly. But you made a mistake, Jessica. You attacked me when I was already broken. You took the worst thing that's ever happened to me and made it about you. And then when I called you out, you threatened my mental stability and my inheritance. I never threatened. You implied I was having a breakdown that might affect my financial responsibilities. In my own kitchen. After exploiting my miscarriage for Facebook likes. I stand up, clutching the folder. You know what I realized today? All these years, I thought I was protecting family by keeping this secret. But you're not protecting family. You're destroying it from the inside. Jessica's phone buzzes on the counter. We both glance at it, a text from Grandma Rose visible on the lock screen, looking forward to the party Saturday. Can't wait to share my big announcement with my girls. The timing is almost perfect in its cruelty. Sarah, Jessica's voice drops to a plea. Please. Think about what you're really doing here. But I am thinking. For the first time in years, I'm thinking clearly about who Jessica really is, and what she's really cost me. And I'm thinking about that Facebook post, still gathering sympathy for her performance as the perfect cousin. I am thinking, I tell her. I'm thinking it's time for some truth. Jessica's face goes white as paper. Sarah, please. You don't understand what this will do to me. My whole life, everything I've worked for. Everything you've lied for, I correct, but something in her desperation gives me pause. What do you mean, everything you've worked for? She starts pacing my kitchen like a caged animal. I can't believe I'm about to tell you this. She stops, gripping the back of a chair. I'm in debt, Sarah. Serious debt. What kind of debt? The kind where men in expensive suits show up at your apartment asking when you plan to pay. Her laugh is bitter, broken. Remember my consulting business that's been doing so well? It failed 18 months ago. I've been living off credit cards and loans from people who aren't patient about repayment. The kitchen spins slightly. How much debt? 400,000. I actually gasp. Jesus, Jessica, how? I kept thinking I could turn it around. One good contract, one lucky break. I used Grandma's inheritance as collateral for some of the loans. They know about it, Sarah. They know exactly how much I'm supposed to get and when. You used money you don't even have yet as collateral? Money I was guaranteed to get. She's shouting now, tears streaming. Everyone knows Grandma's will split everything between us. It's been that way since we were kids. I had lawyers confirm it. As her legal granddaughter, I'm entitled to half of everything. Legal granddaughter. The words taste like ash. But you're not. I am. DNA doesn't matter after 28 years of being her granddaughter. There's legal precedent. Is there? Have you actually checked, or did you just assume? I pull out my phone and start typing. Let me just Google inheritance rights for non-biological family members when fraud is involved. Stop. Jessica's voice is dead. Please stop. But I'm reading now, my stomach dropping with each sentence. Oh wow. Jessica, this is really bad. Listen to this. When inheritance rights are based on fraudulent claims of biological relationship, courts have consistently ruled. I know what it says. She collapses into a chair. I've read every case study, every legal blog, every precedent. If the biological truth comes out before the inheritance is finalized, I get nothing. Nothing, Sarah. And the people I owe money to will. She stops abruptly. Well, what? It doesn't matter. What matters is that Grandma Rose loves me. She's loved me for 28 years. Are you really going to destroy that relationship over a Facebook post? I stare at her, seeing clearly for the first time how calculated everything has been. The Facebook post wasn't an accident, was it? You needed to stay in everyone's good graces right now. My miscarriage was just another opportunity to look like the perfect family member before Grandma's big announcement. Jessica doesn't deny it. And when I got angry, you had to discredit me. Make me look unstable. Because if I started talking about family secrets right before the inheritance announcement. You're paranoid. I'm right. I set the folder down and really look at her, designer clothes that I now realize she probably can't afford, the fake nails, the expensive purse. How long have you been planning this performance? How long have you been terrified someone would figure out the truth? Jessica's phone buzzes again. Another text from Grandma Rose. Jessica, dear, could you pick up the champagne for Saturday? Something special for my announcement. The irony would be funny if it weren't so devastating. Sarah, Jessica whispers. What do you want? What will it take for you to let this go? I look at my cousin, my fake cousin, begging in my kitchen, and I realize I don't know the answer to that question. But I'm starting to understand the power I hold. The silence stretches between us as Jessica waits for my answer. What do I want? 24 hours ago, I wanted my baby back and my privacy respected. Now I'm holding the nuclear option to my cousin's entire existence, and I honestly don't know what to do with it. I want you to understand what you did, I say finally. Really understand it. I do understand. No, you don't. I pull up Facebook on my phone, navigating to her post. Read it out loud. Sarah, that's not. Read. It. Out. Loud. Jessica's face crumples, but she takes my phone. Her voice shakes as she reads her own words, heartbroken for my beautiful cousin who lost her angel baby today. She stops, choking on the words. Keep going. Please send prayers and love during this difficult time. She's crying now, but I feel nothing. No sympathy, no satisfaction. Just cold clarity. Now read your first comment. The one where you responded to Aunt Marie. I can't. You said I was like a sister to you. That you just wanted to help coordinate support. Read it. Jessica scrolls down, her hands visibly shaking. Thank you for letting us know. Sarah's like my sister, and I just want to make sure she has everything she needs during this time. And the one where you gave medical details to strangers? She's sobbing openly now. 8 weeks, same as my friend Katie when she lost hers last year. It's so common but no one talks about it. One more. Read the one where you positioned yourself as the trauma expert. Sarah, please. Read it. I just know how to support people through trauma. Some people shut down, but I've learned you have to push through and stay connected. Her voice breaks completely on the last words. I take my phone back, watching her fall apart in my kitchen chair. 6 hours ago, I would have felt guilty for causing this level of distress. Now I just feel empty. Do you see it now? How you made my tragedy about your expertise? How you shared intimate details of my body with strangers? How you painted yourself as the hero and me as the unstable one who shuts down? Jessica nods through her tears, but I'm not sure she really gets it. I think she's just desperate to make this stop. My phone rings, David calling from work. Hey babe, just checking in. How are you holding up? Jessica's here, I say, watching her face go white. We're having a conversation about boundaries. Do you need me to come home? I look at Jessica, crying in my kitchen, her entire future in my hands. Maybe. Actually, yes. Can you come home? On my way. I hang up, and Jessica immediately starts talking. Sarah, please, we can work this out between us. David doesn't need to get involved. This is family business. David is family. He's my husband. You know what he's not? Someone who would exploit my miscarriage for social media clout. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. The post was a choice. Tagging me was a choice. Responding to every comment was a choice. Denying people details was a choice. Coming here and threatening my mental stability was a choice. I count them off on my fingers. And now I have a choice to make. Jessica's phone buzzes with a notification. Without thinking, she glances at it, and her face goes gray. What? I ask. Nothing. It's nothing. But her reaction tells me it's definitely something. Jessica, what was that notification? Just work stuff. You said your business failed 18 months ago. She's quiet for too long. When she finally speaks, her voice is barely audible. It's from one of the people I owe money to. They're asking for an update on the timeline. For your inheritance? They know about Grandma's birthday party this weekend. They know she's supposed to make the announcement. Jessica looks up at me with desperate eyes. Sarah, if I don't get that inheritance, I'm not just broke. I'm in danger. The weight of what she's telling me settles over the kitchen like a storm cloud. This isn't just about money anymore, it's about safety. But it's also not my responsibility to fix the consequences of her choices. Then you should have thought about that before you betrayed my trust, I say quietly. Jessica's phone buzzes again. Then again. She's staring at it like it might explode. They're not going to wait, she whispers. If they think the money isn't coming. The front door opens, and I hear David's keys hit the hall table. Jessica immediately straightens, trying to compose herself, but the evidence of her breakdown is written all over her face. In here, I call out. David appears in the doorway, taking in the scene, Jessica's tears, my rigid posture, the manila folder between us on the table. His expression hardens. What's going on? I look at Jessica, then at the folder, then at my husband. David, remember those documents I found in Dad's study? The ones about family inconsistencies? David's eyes widen slightly. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Jessica and I are discussing family truth, I continue. And consequences. Jessica's phone won't stop buzzing now. Whatever those messages say, they're making her panic more with each notification. And I'm realizing that the choice I have to make just became a lot more complicated. David takes one look at Jessica's face and immediately moves to stand beside me. What exactly are you discussing? Jessica opens her mouth to speak, but her phone buzzes again, a harsh, insistent sound that makes her flinch. She declines the call without looking at it. Someone really wants to talk to you, David observes. It's nothing, Jessica says quickly, but her voice cracks. Sarah, can we please finish this conversation privately? No, I say firmly. David's part of this family. The real family. He gets to hear whatever you have to say. Jessica's phone immediately starts ringing again. This time, David reaches over and glances at the screen. Who's Marcus Chen? The name hits Jessica like a physical blow. She actually staggers backward. How do you know that name? It's on your phone, David says slowly. Incoming call. He's called 4 times in the last 2 minutes. I watch Jessica's face cycle through panic, calculation, and then something like resignation. He's a business associate. What kind of business associate calls someone 15 times during a family crisis? David's voice is getting harder. Jessica, what the hell is going on? Before she can answer, her phone buzzes with a text. The notification preview is visible from where we're standing, final notice. Payment timeline moved up. Saturday or. Jessica frantically shuts off her phone, but it's too late. We all saw it. Saturday, I repeat. That's interesting timing. Same day as Grandma's party. David looks between us, clearly trying to piece together a puzzle. Someone's threatening you about money? Jessica, are you in some kind of trouble? It's complicated, she whispers. Then uncomplicate it, he snaps. Because my wife is sitting here holding what looks like legal documents, you're having a breakdown in our kitchen, and someone named Marcus is threatening you about Saturday. What am I missing? I make a decision. David, remember when we talked about Jessica not being Dad's biological niece? His face goes very still. You mean the DNA thing? I thought you said you'd never tell anyone. Things change. I tap the folder. Especially when the person whose secret you're keeping decides to exploit your miscarriage for social media attention, then threatens your mental stability when you object. David's expression shifts from confusion to cold fury. She did what now? Jessica starts talking fast, desperation making her voice higher. David, you don't understand the whole situation. Yes, I made mistakes with the Facebook post, but Sarah's talking about destroying my entire life over it. That's not proportional. That's not fair. Fair? David's voice is deadly quiet. Let me tell you what's not fair. My wife called you sobbing from a hospital parking lot yesterday. She trusted you with the worst moment of her life. And you turned it into content. I was trying to help. By tagging her in a public post about her reproductive organs? By giving medical details to strangers? By positioning yourself as the grief expert while she was bleeding? David takes a step toward Jessica, and she actually backs away. You want to talk about proportional? Let's talk about how you've been using my wife's tragedies as stepping stones for your own image for years. That's not true. When your mom died, you took over the funeral planning and cut Sarah out of every decision. When I lost my job, you told half the family before we were ready and showed up here with budgets like we were children who couldn't manage our own finances. David's voice is getting louder. Every crisis becomes the Jessica show. Jessica's face is red and blotchy now. I help people. I take care of this family when everyone else is too emotional to function. No, David says firmly. You exploit people when they're vulnerable, then gaslight them into being grateful for it. Her phone, even though it's supposedly off, somehow buzzes again. A different sound, like an alarm or reminder. Jessica looks at it and goes completely pale. What was that? I ask. Nothing. Timer. She's backing toward the door now. I need to go. We can finish this conversation later. Actually, I say, standing up with the folder, I don't think we can. Because I just realized something, Jessica. You're not just in debt. You're in debt to dangerous people. People who are expecting Grandma's inheritance money. Money that you're not legally entitled to. David's head snaps toward me. What do you mean not legally entitled to? I look at Jessica one more time, giving her a chance to tell the truth herself. When she just stands there, frozen, I make my choice. David, I say quietly, Jessica isn't actually our cousin. The silence that follows is so complete I can hear the kitchen clock ticking. David stares at me. What do you mean she isn't our cousin? I mean the DNA test in this folder shows that Aunt Linda lied about Jessica's paternity. Uncle Mike wasn't her father. She's not biologically related to Dad's family at all. David's mouth opens and closes several times before he finds words. And she knows this? I look at Jessica, whose face has gone from pale to gray. She does now. But Grandma's inheritance goes to non-biological family members based on fraud, I finish. Which means Jessica has been taking loans against money she has no legal right to inherit. David slowly turns to look at Jessica, and his expression is something I've never seen before, a mixture of disgust and genuine concern. Jesus Christ, Jessica. Who did you borrow money from? Jessica's silence stretches so long I start to wonder if she's going to answer at all. When she finally speaks, her voice is barely above a whisper. Private lenders. Business investors. People who specialize in asset-backed loans. David and I exchange a look. What kind of assets, he asks. Future inheritance. They have contracts showing Grandma Rose's estimated net worth and the expected distribution timeline. Jessica's hands are shaking so badly she has to grip the counter to steady herself. It's a legitimate business model. Lots of people do it. Lots of people don't commit inheritance fraud, I snap. I didn't commit fraud. I believed I was entitled to that money. I am entitled to it. 28 years of being her granddaughter has to count for something legally. David pulls out his phone and starts typing. Actually, let me look this up. Inheritance rights when biological relationship is fraudulent. His face grows darker as he reads. Jesus, Jessica. It says here that inheritance fraud can void all claims, even if the beneficiary was unaware of the biological truth initially. But it also says especially when the beneficiary knowingly perpetuates the fraud after becoming aware of the facts. Jessica's face crumples. I only found out about the DNA stuff 2 years ago. The admission hits me like a truck. What do you mean you found out 2 years ago? Mom told me before she died. She was on all the pain medication, and she just confessed everything. About the affair, about lying to Uncle Mike, about your dad's investigation. Jessica's voice is hollow now, all pretense gone. She made me promise never to tell anyone. Said it would destroy the family. And instead of coming clean, you decided to take out loans against money that wasn't yours? David's voice is incredulous. I panicked. I'd already been living my whole life assuming I'd inherit half of Grandma's estate. I had financial plans, business investments, my whole future mapped out around that money. Jessica starts pacing again. When Mom died and left me with her medical debt on top of everything else, I needed capital fast. The inheritance loan seemed like the perfect solution. How much did you borrow total? I ask, though I'm not sure I want to know. 600,000. David actually gasps. 600, Jessica, that's more than your share would have been even if you were legitimate. I know that now. But the interest rates are aggressive. What started as 400 became 600 very quickly. She looks at me with desperate eyes. Sarah, these people don't just write off bad debts. They have other ways of collecting. My phone buzzes with a text from Grandma Rose. Sarah, dear, are you feeling up to helping me with some party preparations tomorrow? I want everything perfect for my big announcement. The timing is almost cruel. I show the message to David, whose jaw tightens. She's announcing the inheritance distribution Saturday, he says. And when your name isn't called, they'll know the money isn't coming, Jessica finishes miserably. Marcus has people watching Grandma's house. They'll know within hours. A chill runs down my spine. They're surveilling our grandmother? They surveil all their investments. It's standard practice. Jessica's laugh is bitter. I thought I was so smart, using family money as collateral. I never considered what would happen if the family money disappeared. David looks at me, then at the folder. Sarah, what exactly are you planning to do with those documents? The question hangs in the air like a loaded gun. 24 hours ago, the answer would have been simple: keep the secret, protect the family, let sleeping dogs lie. But now Jessica has endangered not just herself, but potentially our grandmother. I don't know, I admit. But I think I need to talk to Grandma Rose. Jessica's eyes widen in pure terror. Sarah, no. Please. You don't understand what you'd be unleashing. Then help me understand. Exactly who are these people, and what happens if they don't get paid? Jessica's phone buzzes again, she never actually turned it off. This time, she looks at it and goes completely white. What? David demands. They want to meet. Tonight. They're saying there are new developments they need to discuss. She looks up at us with hollow eyes. Someone told them about our conversation. The blood freezes in my veins. What do you mean someone told them? They know about the DNA evidence, Sarah. They know you have it. The words hit me like ice water. How could they possibly know about the DNA evidence? Jessica's hands are shaking so badly she can barely hold her phone. I don't know. But look at this message. Heard there might be some family documents that could affect our arrangement. We should discuss tonight. 8 p.m. You know where. David snatches the phone from her hands, reading the message himself. Jesus Christ, Jessica. Are you telling me you involved loan sharks in our family business? I didn't involve them in anything. They have investigators, David. They research their investments thoroughly. If someone's been asking questions about inheritance law, looking up precedents about biological fraud, she stops, staring at me with dawning horror. Sarah, have you been researching this online? My stomach drops. I might have Googled some things earlier. About inheritance rights and fraud. On your home computer? Your phone? Jessica's voice is getting higher. These people monitor everything connected to their investments. If you've been searching terms like inheritance fraud and DNA evidence from devices connected to this address. David's face has gone completely white. They're watching our house? They watch everything, Jessica whispers. Property records, internet searches, social media activity, family communications. They probably know about Sarah's miscarriage, about our fight today, about the documents she found. They know everything. I look around my own kitchen like it's been violated, which I guess it has. How long have they been watching us? Since I used the inheritance as collateral 18 months ago. Sarah, they probably know your work schedule, David's commute, when you grocery shop. Jessica stops abruptly as a new realization hits her. Oh God. Grandma Rose. What about Grandma? If they know about the DNA evidence, if they know the inheritance might be challenged, they might. She can't finish the sentence. David grabs her by the shoulders. They might what, Jessica? They might try to accelerate the timeline. Make sure the inheritance goes through before any challenges can be raised. Her voice is barely a whisper. They have a lot of money at stake here. 600,000 plus interest, and they've been counting on this payout for months. The implications hit me like a freight train. You think they'd hurt Grandma Rose? I think they'd do whatever it takes to protect their investment. And right now, their investment depends on me inheriting half her estate in 3 days. My phone suddenly buzzes with a call from an unknown number. We all stare at it like it's a bomb. Don't answer it, Jessica says quickly. Why not? Because if they're calling you directly, it means they want to negotiate. And you don't want to negotiate with these people, Sarah. Trust me. But David reaches over and answers the phone, putting it on speaker before I can stop him. Hello, Sarah. The voice is calm, professional, almost friendly. My name is Marcus Chen. I believe Jessica has mentioned me. I think it's time we had a conversation about some family documents you've recently discovered. The casual use of my name, the knowledge of the documents, the complete invasion of my privacy, it all hits me at once. These strangers have been watching my life, cataloging my movements, monitoring my grief. And now they want to talk. I don't know who you think you are, I say, my voice steadier than I feel, but you have no right to. Actually, Mrs. Sarah, I have every right to protect my business interests. Your cousin owes my associates a considerable sum of money, secured against what we believe to be a guaranteed inheritance. If that inheritance is now in question, we need to discuss alternative arrangements. Jessica mouths hang up frantically, but something in Marcus's tone tells me that would be a mistake. What kind of alternative arrangements? I ask. The kind that ensure everyone gets what they deserve, Marcus says smoothly. Mrs. Sarah, I understand you're grieving a recent loss. I'm sorry for that. But business doesn't pause for personal tragedy. The casual mention of my miscarriage makes my skin crawl. How do you know about? We know quite a lot about the families we invest in. It helps us make informed decisions. His tone remains maddeningly pleasant. For instance, we know your grandmother Rose is planning a significant announcement this Saturday. We know she's been updating her estate documents with her attorney. We know you've been researching inheritance fraud laws for the past several hours. David grabs my hand, squeezing hard enough that it almost hurts. What we don't know, Marcus continues, is what you plan to do with those documents you found. That's what I'd like to discuss. Jessica is frantically shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. Through the phone speaker, I can hear the sound of traffic. Marcus is driving somewhere. I don't plan to do anything, I lie. That's good to hear. Because disrupting Jessica's inheritance would create complications for everyone involved. Your grandmother is 75, lives alone, maintains very predictable routines. Morning walks, Tuesday grocery trips, Wednesday evening book club. Such a lovely, stable life. It would be unfortunate if that stability were disrupted. The threat is so casually delivered that for a moment I don't process it. Then the full weight hits me. He's threatening Grandma Rose. Are you threatening my grandmother? David's voice is deadly quiet. I'm simply observing that elderly people can be quite fragile when their routines are disrupted. Family drama, unexpected revelations, legal challenges to their wishes, these things can be very stressful for someone in their 70s. Jessica suddenly lunges for the phone. Marcus, don't, they're not involved in this. This is between you and me. Actually, Jessica, they became involved the moment Sarah started researching ways to challenge your inheritance. My investors are very concerned about protecting their portfolio. The sound of a car door slamming echoes through the speaker. Sarah, I'm going to text you an address. I think we should meet tonight to discuss a mutually beneficial arrangement. I'm not meeting you anywhere, I say firmly. Oh, but I think you will. Because if we can't reach an agreement tonight, my associates will assume the inheritance is compromised. And when investments are compromised, we have to explore other recovery methods. My phone buzzes with a text message, an address across town. 9 p.m., Marcus says. Come alone, bring the documents. We'll work something out that protects everyone's interests. And if I don't come? Then we'll have to have a very different conversation with your grandmother tomorrow morning. Perhaps during her morning walk. Old people can be so unsteady on their feet, especially when they're upset about family secrets. The line goes dead. The kitchen is completely silent except for the sound of Jessica sobbing. David and I stare at each other, both processing the same horrifying reality. We're not just dealing with Jessica's death anymore. We're dealing with people who are willing to threaten an elderly woman to collect money. Sarah, David says quietly, we need to call the police. No. Jessica jumps up, panic in her voice. You can't call the police. These people have connections everywhere. And they haven't actually done anything illegal yet. Everything Marcus said was just implications. But if you involve law enforcement, they'll know within hours. And then Grandma really will be in danger. I look down at the manila folder, at the DNA evidence that started this whole nightmare. 24 hours ago, my biggest problem was a Facebook post. Now armed strangers are threatening my grandmother's safety. Jessica, I say slowly, exactly what have you gotten our family into? Jessica collapses back into the chair, her whole body shaking. I thought they were legitimate business people. Professional. The contracts looked official, everything seemed legal. But they're not, David states flatly. No. They're not. Jessica's voice is hollow. I realized that about 6 months ago when I missed a payment deadline. Marcus showed up at my apartment with photos. Photos of what? I ask, though I'm dreading the answer. You. Grandma Rose. David leaving for work. Your daily routines. She looks up at me with haunted eyes. That's when I understood this wasn't just a business arrangement anymore. They'd been watching all of us from the beginning, building profiles, learning our vulnerabilities. David starts pacing, running his hands through his hair. Jesus Christ. How did we not know about any of this? Because I kept paying them, Jessica whispers. I've been scrambling for months, selling everything I own, taking cash advances, borrowing from anyone who would lend to me. I thought if I could just keep them satisfied until Saturday. Until Grandma announced her inheritance, I finish. It was supposed to be simple. Get the inheritance, pay off the debt, start fresh. Jessica laughs bitterly. I never imagined someone would have DNA evidence proving I'm not actually entitled to any of it. My phone buzzes again, another text from the unknown number, looking forward to our conversation. Don't disappoint me. The casual tone makes my skin crawl. This Marcus person has been monitoring my family for over a year, collecting information about our lives like we're specimens in a lab. There's something else, Jessica says quietly. Something I didn't tell you about the loans. David stops pacing. What now? The contracts have acceleration clauses. If the primary collateral, my inheritance, becomes unavailable for any reason, the full amount becomes immediately due. Jessica's voice gets smaller. With penalties and fees, we're talking about close to $800,000 now. 800,000, I repeat numbly. And if I can't pay? She trails off. They collect from other family assets, I realize with growing horror. They go after Grandma Rose directly. Jessica nods miserably. Her house is worth $1.2 million. Her investment accounts, the lake property, it would more than cover what I owe. The full scope of Jessica's betrayal is starting to sink in. She didn't just lie about her heritage and exploit my miscarriage, she put our entire family at financial risk. So let me get this straight, David says, his voice getting dangerous. You borrowed money against an inheritance you knew you weren't entitled to. When that inheritance disappears, these people will come after a 75-year-old woman's assets to cover your debt. I didn't know about the DNA thing when I first took the loans. Jessica protests. But you knew 2 years ago. And instead of coming clean or finding another solution, you kept borrowing more money. I stand up, the manila folder clutched in my hands. You've been playing Russian roulette with Grandma's safety. My phone rings again, Grandma Rose this time. We all stare at the screen. Answer it, David says grimly. Act normal. Hi Grandma, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Hello dear. I was just calling to confirm you're feeling up to helping with party preparations tomorrow. I know you're going through a difficult time, but I could really use your help with the centerpieces. The normalcy of her voice, the mundane concern about party decorations, it's surreal given what we've just learned. Of course, Grandma. What time do you need me there? How about 10 in the morning? We can work until lunch, then I have an appointment with my attorney to finalize some paperwork for Saturday's announcement. Jessica's face goes white at the mention of the attorney. That sounds perfect, I manage. Grandma, are you being careful? Locking your doors, staying aware of your surroundings? Oh my, yes. Although I did notice a strange car parked across the street yesterday. Probably nothing, but at my age, you notice these things. My blood runs cold. What kind of car, Grandma? I ask, trying to keep the panic out of my voice. Dark sedan, I think. Tinted windows. It was there when I got back from book club Wednesday, and again this morning during my walk. Probably just someone visiting the Hendersons, but it seemed odd because it was always empty. Jessica has gone completely pale, mouthing oh God, silently. Grandma, maybe you should stay inside tomorrow. Nonsense, dear. I'm not going to hide in my house because of some parked car. Besides, I have too much to do before Saturday. Her voice brightens. Speaking of which, I finally decided what I'm going to announce at the party. It's going to be quite a surprise for you girls. The words hit like ice water. Jessica starts hyperventilating. What kind of surprise? I manage. Well, I suppose I can give you a little hint since you're helping tomorrow. I've been thinking a lot about family lately, about what really matters. Blood isn't everything, you know. It's about who shows up, who cares, who's been there through thick and thin. Jessica doubles over like she's been punched. I've decided to restructure my will completely, Grandma continues cheerfully. Instead of just splitting everything between you and Jessica, I'm creating a family foundation. Something that will benefit everyone for generations to come. Isn't that exciting? The phone slips in my sweaty hand. A foundation? Yes. My attorney says it's a wonderful way to ensure the money stays in the family while supporting causes I care about. Education scholarships, medical research, that sort of thing. You and Jessica will be trustees, of course, but the bulk of the assets will be preserved for long-term charitable giving. David catches my eye, his face grim. If Grandma's creating a foundation instead of direct inheritance, Jessica won't be getting a lump sum payment at all. That sounds very generous, Grandma. I think your grandfather would have loved the idea. Anyway, I should let you rest, dear. See you tomorrow at 10. And Sarah? I'm so proud of how you're handling everything. You're stronger than you know. She hangs up, leaving us in devastating silence. Jessica is rocking back and forth in her chair. Did you hear that? A foundation. Trustees. There's no lump sum payment, Sarah. There's nothing to pay Marcus with. Maybe that's not entirely bad. You don't understand. Jessica's voice cracks. The contracts specify liquid asset inheritance. If the money gets tied up in a foundation, it's considered unavailable collateral. The acceleration clause triggers automatically. David sinks into a chair. Which means $800,000 becomes due immediately. With nowhere to get it except. Jessica's voice trails off. Except from Grandma directly, I finish. My phone buzzes with another text from Marcus. Interesting development with your grandmother's estate planning. We should definitely meet tonight. Bring the DNA documents and any information about foundation restructuring. The casual monitoring of our family's private conversations is nauseating. These people have somehow infiltrated our entire lives. They're listening, I whisper. They heard the whole conversation. Jessica nods miserably. Probably tapped her phone months ago when they started surveillance. They know about the foundation now. They know their payday just disappeared. David stands up abruptly. That's it. I'm calling the FBI. This is extortion, surveillance, threatening an elderly person. David, wait. Jessica grabs his arm. If you involve law enforcement now, before we figure out a solution, they'll panic. And panicked people do desperate things to elderly women who live alone. The weight of our situation settles over me like lead. Going to the police might escalate things dangerously. Not going means facing armed strangers alone. And somewhere in the middle is my 75-year-old grandmother, completely unaware that her life has become collateral damage in Jessica's financial nightmare. I look down at the manila folder containing the DNA evidence, the documents that started this cascade of disasters. For the first time since this began, I wonder if some secrets should stay buried. The meeting location is an abandoned office building downtown. As David and I sit in our car across the street, watching for Marcus and his associates, I clutch the manila folder and try to steady my breathing. You sure about this plan? David asks for the 10th time. I nod, though I'm not sure about anything anymore. It's the only way to end this without putting Grandma at risk. My phone buzzes. Marcus, come up to the 3rd floor. Alone. Remember, David says, I'll be right outside with 911 ready to dial. If you're not out in 30 minutes. I know. I kiss him quickly and get out of the car. Marcus is waiting in what used to be a conference room, impeccably dressed and calm. 2 other men stand by the windows, silent, watching. Sarah. Thank you for coming. I assume you brought the documents? I hold up the folder. I brought them. But I also brought a proposal. His eyebrows raise slightly. Oh? You want your money. Jessica can't pay it. But destroying my grandmother won't get you paid either. It'll just create a legal mess that ties up her assets for years. I set the folder on the table but keep my hand on it. I have a better solution. I'm listening. These DNA documents prove Jessica isn't entitled to any inheritance. But they also prove something else. I open the folder to the private investigator's report. My father knew about this 6 years ago. He's been sitting on evidence of inheritance fraud, which makes him complicit. Marcus leans forward, interested. My father owns a construction company worth $1.2 million. Clean assets, no legal complications. I slide a paper across the table, property records I printed earlier. If I reveal the DNA evidence to my grandmother tomorrow, Jessica's inheritance disappears and you get nothing. But if I reveal it to my father tonight, you think he'll pay to keep the scandal quiet? I think he'll do anything to protect this family from the consequences of Jessica's choices, including liquidating his business to pay off her debt. I meet Marcus's eyes. $800,000 to make this go away completely. Clean, untraceable, no elderly victims. Marcus studies the documents, then looks at his associates. Some silent communication passes between them. And Jessica? Learns that actions have consequences. She loses the inheritance she was never entitled to anyway, but she keeps her life. I close the folder. Everyone gets what they actually deserve. One of the silent men whispers something to Marcus, who nods. Interesting proposal. But what guarantees do we have that your father will pay? I pull out my phone and show him my call log. Because I'm calling him right now, on speaker, and you can hear him agree to it yourself. Marcus smiles, the first genuine emotion I've seen from him. I like you, Sarah. You think like a businesswoman. My father's voice fills the room when he answers, Sarah? It's late, honey, is everything. Dad, I found the DNA documents in your study. The ones about Jessica. Silence. I know you've been protecting her, but she's made some very bad financial decisions using information about Grandma's inheritance. Decisions that have put our whole family at risk. Jesus Christ. Dad's voice is hollow. What kind of decisions? The kind that require $800,000 to fix. Tonight. The silence stretches so long I think the call dropped. Then, God damn it, Jessica. Yes. Yes, I'll handle it. Whatever it takes to protect this family. Marcus nods approvingly and signals to his men. One more thing, Dad, I add. Jessica doesn't get to know where the money came from. As far as she's concerned, these people just went away. Agreed. And Sarah? Those documents are going back in your study where I found them. Some secrets are worth keeping. I hang up and look at Marcus. Business concluded? Business concluded. It's been a pleasure, Sarah. I hope we never meet again. Likewise. As I walk out of the building, I realize I feel lighter than I have in days. Not because I chose revenge, but because I chose justice. Jessica will face consequences for her choices, but proportional ones. Dad will face consequences for his years of enabling, but survivable ones. And Grandma Rose will get to announce her foundation plans Saturday surrounded by family who actually love her, blissfully unaware of the danger she was in. Sometimes protecting family means making hard choices about who deserves protection. And sometimes the best revenge is simply letting people experience the natural consequences of their own actions.